I really want to thank you for coming out in such numbers. I think we have openings like this fairly frequently, and I don't think we've had as many people turn up as we have today. And that is a real tribute to this lady here. We go back, I'll just...
Is it 40 years?
Olive, I hate to tell you this. It's very nearly 50.
Oh, wow.
And we've worked together...
Well, all this time.
All this time. And yet, with this remarkable lady, you just have to look at some of this stuff, which is amazing. The power of it, the pain quite often, that the Ancient Mariner series, that big one, I remember going into your studio when that was in clay, I think.
And you were in tears.
You went off to make me a coffee and I stood in front of it and I cried. The power that you get in there is just absolutely extraordinary.
Well, it was done from the heart. I think that we kill so many things without a second thought that I felt I'd got to put my, try to say what I felt about it. And that was how I did it. But he's holding the bird that he's just shot and he can't bear to look at it because he doesn't understand why he's done it. I think that happens so much these days that we're just killing things without thinking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was a whole series around, we republished Coleridge's poem, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, and we illustrated it entirely with sculpture.
It was a mad thing to do.
It was a crazy thing to do, including those. Can you talk a little bit about that?
The scrimshaw.
Yeah.
When you said to me, I've got to find a way of telling the story, and I said, well, I'll do drawings. And you said, I don't like drawings. So I thought about it and thought, well, at that time, the whalers would have gone out. They would have worked on scrimshaw, you know, what is left after the whale has been used, and the bits that are left, the sailors would spend their time decorating them. And I thought, well, that's a perfect way to tell the story. So that actually worked quite well. And I really enjoyed working on the scrimshaw because it was a different way to do it. It was fitting the illustration into the shape. And as I say, I thoroughly enjoyed doing that.
Can we talk a little bit about Daphne? Yeah.
Well, Daphne happened, I'd seen the Bernini sculpture of Apollo and Daphne, and it's an incredibly beautiful thing. But in a way, I felt it was too beautiful. I wanted to do it from Daphne's point of view. And so she's screaming, actually, as she changes into a laurel tree.
That's a relatively new idea for...
Yes. This is Icarus falling. He was the son of Daedalus. This is related in a way to the Minotaur story. The Minotaur was killed by Perseus with the aid of Daedalus. And so Minos, the king, was very angry with Daedalus, and so Daedalus had to get out of the country and take his son with him. So Daedalus made wings for both of them out of wax and eagle's feathers, and told his son not to fly too near to the sun as the wax would melt. But being a teenager and not listening to his father, he did fly too near to the sun, and the wax melted and his wings fell, and he fell into the sea and drowned and became an island.
Would you like to say something about these wall plaques?
Yes, the Green Man's always been a subject that I've liked, but the bigger Green Man I did because I had a beautiful blue cedar in my garden which caused a lot of trouble by lifting my neighbour's garage up a couple of inches. So the tree had to come down, and I loved the tree, and I thought it needed something to commemorate it, which is why I did the green man with the birds and a snail and a mouse, all set in there.
What do you use for reference for your work? And does drawing feature in any kind of preparation or development?
The mythological tales, I've got books about them, obviously. Reference for the animals, I like to work from the animal. So the reference, it's there, really. And I take photographs as well, to help. So that's my reference.
And do you develop your ideas through drawing or 2D work in any way?
Generally not. I would rather go straight into modelling. Mm-hmm. I find in a way it's a waste of time doing unless it's just an idea, and then I'll do a thumbnail sketch and just to remind me about something, but I don't go into lots of drawings for something. As I say, I think it's a waste of time, really. I just like to get straight into the modelling business.
Is there any sculptor in the past that you particularly are inspired by?
Epstein. Particularly, yes.
How did you move from an animal sculpture to mythology?
How did I go from animals to mythology?
To the more dramatic?
Well, I love doing the animals because I think they're incredibly beautiful often. They have so much energy and, well, I just have a love for animals. But I couldn't express ideas through them, which is why I moved to doing the mythological thing. I mean, it would have made more sense perhaps to stay with the animals because there's a better market.
Yes. I mean, you have only to look at these. I mean, they are absolutely extraordinary. I'd like you to name another sculptor doing animals as vibrantly and as brilliantly as Olive does. But my God, would that not have been boring? And are we not much more moved? She's done, and yes, they would have sold. And of course, if we'd filled the place with greyhounds and whippets and hares and whatever, people will be coming in and saying, that's bloody wonderful, we'll have one of those. But then you wonder in 100 years' time, there would still be great sculpture, but to what extent would people be being moved by them compared with the Mariner, compared with this Minotaur here, compared with the Daphne? I mean, it's another thing entirely. And I think that although you're right, that would have been, there would have been a gentle and constant and much easier living.
But not enough.
Not enough, and we wouldn't be working together, I don't think, because why? The real artist, the really creative spirit is making from the gut and the heart and giving you stuff which is extraordinary and which you maybe won't see elsewhere, and not just pandering to a market and churning it out.
No point in that.
No. We don't choose to look after very many living artists. It's actually now a tiny number. And in terms of sculptors, we have the Frank Dobson estate. We've done an awful lot with Epstein and this lady. I'm extraordinarily choosy. I'm not interested in how big their reputation is. I'm really interested, and we are interested, in how great their work is. You would actually be surprised at how many very big names and Royal Academicians have asked us to look after them, because we're selling all over the world every day. And the answer, time and time again, is no. Because if the work is not real, We don't care how well it is selling at the time. We're not interested. We only have one time around here, and we want to make it right. I have to say, we've been privileged here to work with a lot of people, a lot of great artists and potters. It's been very special, our relationship with you. We've loved it. So thank you.